Hi Capricorn, welcome to your extended. All right, here we go. So, it would seem like a hard time to talk about receiving when you have so much work to do. But it is specifically, especially when you feel your lowest, that receiving becomes so important. It's a hard concept for Cardinal Earth, I understand. You're the doers, you know? But receiving is so seemingly passive. It's not at all. But it seems passive because you're not physically doing anything, materially doing anything. And yet it garners such great results. Some would say, including me, much more so than doing. And perhaps that's what these retrogrades are trying to teach you, is that although your doing is marvelous and we love you for it, maybe there is another way, a way that you can mesh the two. So what is she doing? She's open. She's cleared her minds of whatever blocks there may be that would keep success, money, abundance, love from her. She's just eradicated them. She's erased any mental block, any emotional belief that tells her that she can't have everything. What she's doing is she's sitting there believing that everything can be hers. That whatever she wants, it will come to her. That's what she's doing. And that is what you're learning to do. If you have an Aries or a Virgo in your life, you are beginning to think that maybe you need to take a break because you really want to focus on you. And it's like they're sucking all the air out of the room. It's just tiresome. It's over and over and over again with the same thing. Me, 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 me. They do it in different ways, but it's the same thing. It's exhausting. And again, if you're in a place where you really need to be receptive, it's very hard when people want you to fix their problems. So there's that. But also, what does this Aries energy and what does this Virgo energy mean for you? Focusing on self, sure, that's a great idea, but do you need this level of pride right now when you need to redo things and restructure? You don't. See, because it's not just people, it's the energy. You don't want this, you don't need this energy right now. And then the introspection, which can get you into a lot of trouble because it leads to hesitation. It leads to second-guessing yourself, insecurity, low self-esteem. Do you need that right now? Because I don't think you do. This combination seems like the furthest thing from what you need. So pushing those elements away is a good idea. If you've got a water sign in your life that you've really been going back and forth about whether or not you should take a chance on them, I think they would really surprise you if you did. I think they could very much live up to the risk that you would have to take, excuse me, to be with them or to pursue something with them, especially if they're a Scorpio. Now, this again also applies to receptivity and letting that aspect of yourself bloom. Now, here's the card we've been waiting for, and here's the card that inevitably goes with it, and here's the card that clarifies it. Perfect. Remember when I said in the general that it's about breaking down the house instead of trying to fix a faulty structure? That's this right here. And what that process, if you do it without ego, brings to you is great good fortune. The type of abundance where you are really unbothered. You're set. You can't be bothered. So that is what you have to look forward to once you get over the initial sting of having to do it from the beginning. Now, what is this all about? Especially if we're talking about relationships. It's about power. If we're talking about love relationships, it's all about the power. Who has it and who wants it. And there's more than two parties involved here. There may be three, especially if the third one is a Libra or an air sign in general. So there's someone that's already in your life, and then there's another somebody, and I don't know which order they're in, but it's one too many people. And that gets very, very messy in June. I think because people are done trying. You know, they've finally gotten the message that you don't want to try, that you are quite secure and happy in your power, and you're just glad everything's working the way it is, even if it's not what everybody else wants. It's what you want. You're getting what you want, so it's all good. The other moving pieces in this puzzle are starting to react to that, and you will not be able to leave June without coming to some sort of a decision about it, which is probably for the best. This also, of course, applies to your career, the different companies, the different artists, the different whomever that you're working with, especially if they're Libras, especially the air signs, especially if it has to do with legal stuff, signing documents, signing contracts. It's all about power. It's a power game. And that's may not be how you make the most friends, but it's definitely the way you make the most money. And then we had that lunar eclipse yesterday that may have put a very bright, bright light on what it is that you've been hiding. Lunar eclipse 12th house. And also, if you're dealing with a Pisces, what that Pisces has been hiding, which in most cases is they're just hiding that they don't feel like you treat them well enough. But that lunar eclipse, it changed you. It made you see things differently. And there's no going back from that. Now things move very quickly in a different direction, and it will ultimately make you very, very happy. Of course, in the short term, upending something that works, upending something, that's institutional, it seems scary, it seems stupid, and you're very, very, very afraid that if you take the risk, that you will regret it forever. But you won't. It'll just lead you to your ultimate happiness, and that's actually why you're averse to it, is because you don't know how to handle the idea of being that happy and that free. I think it would be really beneficial for you to speak on it, especially in Gemini season. Put it out there in the world. What is it exactly that you want? Say it out loud. Who do you want with you? Why do you want them with you? Say it. All the things, Capricorn, that you've been holding back. You're just dying to say them, so say them. If you're dealing with a Gemini, they are really into you, even when you're being extremely harsh. Take advantage of that. And also the energy of Gemini season is like that for you too. It wants you to speak up. It wants you to say what it is that you want. The Magician and the Five of Wands, the Four of Pentacles. If there is someone in your life that has lied to you, that has very much mistreated you, that made you for a long time feel like you were the combative one, you were the one asking for too much, you were the one making a problem. If you've been dealing with a narcissist, it can be very hard to let go because they convince you with their games that whatever's happening is happening because of you, because it was your fault, or you weren't good enough, or if you had just said this, or if you just hadn't done that. And you, being you, can get very attached to that perceived failure. Don't let it happen. It's a mind game. It's a total mind game. And then Six of Swords, Nine of Pentacles, and Ace of Cups. So you leave the mind game behind, right? You leave the mind game behind and you focus now on just you and building this vast empire around you that's just based on you. You leave everything else for whoever wants it. You don't care. But the love comes rushing when they see you in this energy. Can't help it. And the love goes running when you start communicating complaints, nerves, fear, all of that. It's all just another way of keeping yourself weak, even through the hardest of times. To acknowledge and despair will only make it worse. I'm not saying bottle it up and never talk about it. I'm saying that if you constantly are going on about your problems, which I've never met a Capricorn that does, but since it's here, then, you know, what? Then what? You are going back and forth as to how this all defines you and what your identity is now. And there's so many ways that you could go with it. But I think you need to wait until the retrogrades show you exactly what to do, because right now you're obviously in a holding pattern. But victory comes, perhaps unexpectedly, but victory comes. And it changes everything. All the time you spent that made you feel like you weren't doing anything, it all pays off. You just have to hang in tight there and not resent the waiting, the hanging on, the feeling like the hangman. Not resenting it is the key. And there will be celebrations, and there will be people who will need to be X'd out. Start, keep going with that trend. But you will see that it gets easier and easier to do it. Whatever regret you have about however things were supposed to work out and they didn't, there's no point in crying about it now. It's not going to change anything. You can, however, make plans for your future and end up with some really good karma coming your way in terms of money and love. Right? So, don't worry. Don't let everything that's going on right now get you down. Don't isolate yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. Don't isolate yourself. Lean on that network of people that you have around you. Again, that lunar eclipse followed by the solar eclipse, the season in between, it wants to talk to you all about the things that made your heart hurt. And it just keeps coming up and keeps coming up and keeps coming up. And it's good, it's healthy, because you're starting to see where you've taken from yourself, where you've lied to yourself and said it was fine when it wasn't. And when you get clear with yourself, here comes the 10 of Pentacles and the 3 of Wands and the 2 of Cups. Go far, far away. Start again, away from everybody. And then a new offer of love. I wouldn't trust it though. I would wait on this. This seems very strategic. I would leave that alone. And a water sign that's too young or too something for you, you'll know right away. But the more you distract these Barneys, the better your chances are of finding this road and walking down it. It requires a lot of rest and contemplation. It requires communication, especially about your fears, about your confusion, about things you don't know how to handle. When you don't know how to handle something, the best thing to do is pull back from the situation completely and observe it. What do you see? If you sit still and watch it long enough, you see what's really happening. And then there is the Chariot. The larger arc of your life is being determined right now by the choices you make in these next few weeks. That's a heavy pressure, like the weight of the world on your shoulders. But it will get better. It will dissipate and you will find your way through it. Still successful. Still doing it exactly the way you wanted to do it. Be careful about communicating this luck to everyone. It's a very, very bad idea. Keep it to yourself, please. King of Swords, the Tower. Ah, I see. King of Swords, why are these cards not coming up? The Tower and 10 of Swords. So that air sign energy is really doing a number on you while all this is going on. And that doesn't seem right at all. But like I said, it's time to burn it down and start again. And this is what it feels like, and you will be here by the end of June, going into July. So now that you know that there are big decisions coming, big moves being made, arm yourself. Arm yourself with the self-esteem and the nutrition and the sleep and the confidence and the trusting your gut. So when these moments come, you're ready. Okay, Capricorn. That was your extended. Love you.